In this month of July, I wanted us to have conversations on this segment of Wednesday's Conversations with authors, writers, and publishers. They are quite a number all over the world, but I approached some of them, and those ones who agreed to have these conversations, we had a very interesting time. And to kick us off in the month of July with Wednesday's Conversations is Oscar Ranzo. He is a fellow of the International Writing Program at the University of Iowa in the United States of America. He is the author of 20 children's books, as well as the popular adventure of Barbie and Bobby, which has been serialized for 3 years in the Sunday Vision. In 2021, he started literary social enterprise, the Oasis Book Project, with the major aim of sparkling interest in local literature by publishing children's books with high literacy and artistic standards and selling them cheaply into our school systems and to parents. The project has since been working directly with many primary schools in central Uganda to help children become skilled readers who love to read, and has so far published 30 children's books, all of which are currently being read by hundreds of children all over. In due course, Oscar has employed over 10 young people, men and women, on a permanent basis and has more on a part-time basis, all of which are passionate about promoting the reading culture in the country. In 2014, Oscar won the Enterprising Teachers Award from the New Vision on the positive impact of the Oasis Book Project to the education sector in Uganda. In 2018, his book, The Jewels of Amuria, won the award of Children's Book of the Year, and in the same year, he was hired by Ladybird Books as a consultant on the Key Words for Africa book project. This is a very enterprising guy as far as writing is concerned, and I had an opportunity to talk with him to bring out his story, and I brought to you this conversation so that you can be able to learn from it. If you are an ardent reader and an avid writer, there you go. Enjoy this conversation.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Life Signatures episodes are brought to you by AfricanBooks.com, which is an online e-book platform that seeks to broadcast the African Christian voice to the world. As such, they have become a hub for African content, connecting African writers and publishers with a global reading audience. Publishing your books on their site is free and easy, with authors having full control over their content and the price they choose to sell at it. I was personally blown away by the concept that AfricanBooks.com is coming up with. Things like no content from their site or their app is going to be run on laptops so that people can easily copy. In other words, your content as a writer is restricted from digital multiplication or digital copying, so you remain intact with your information. And the other concept that I got so blown away with was the fact that in some time to come, in due course, africanbooks.com will be starting to announce African Writer of the Year. In other words, there will be competitions in all African countries to figure out who is the best published author. And I also fell in love with the fact that countries can actually compete against each other. We can have African authors going at it after each other, and your book as an author will be reviewed and have some stars and recommended upon that particular platform. The thing is that it's an answer to Amazon.com. You know, with Amazon, what happens? You've got to have an account in the Americas or whatever, or in Europe before you can get paid as an author. But here, the local currency is in play and the local means of getting paid are in play. So to get started, go to africanbooks.com as an author or as a publisher, and even as a reader if you wanted to read your African favorite authors. Enjoy.
But right.
Read.
And
Right.
Yes.
You used earlier on, you used the word daily. In terms of writing,
Yes.
it has got to be daily.
Daily.
Is that your process even today?
Even today, it's your work. If
Your life.
if you have a job, you have to turn up daily.
Exactly.
That's what you do at your job.
Oh, that's a very big revelation. If you're a writer, you write daily.
Yes.
If you're a cook, you're paid to cook daily.
Daily. It's your work. You do your work every day. It's the only thing that you have to do every day.
Yeah.
You cannot call yourself a writer when you get inspiration.
So once a week is not enough.
That's not a job.
Yeah.
If you're writing and you say it's your work,
Yeah.
find time to write every day.
Wow. That's the advice you'll give the upcoming guys.
Yeah, that's the difference between somebody who is a writer and then somebody who is an aspiring writer. The writer writes every day. Who is the most successful writer nowadays? James Patterson. How many books has James Patterson has written?
Gladwell.
The Gladwells. How many books do they have? You find that there's more successful authors in terms of income are the ones who have lots of books.
Why are you saying James Patterson is the most successful?
In terms of income. Because it sells like they did of the most successful writer of the decade. He has sold more copies than anyone. In terms of sales, like he sells like hundreds of millions of copies. But James Patterson, he has like over 100 books. He publishes like over 10 books a year. He has books for children and adults and what. So his income is just like crazy. When you get
he publishes 10 books a year.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, whatever place it is you're tuned on to Life Signatures podcast. Being a Wednesday, you know what is up. We are bringing in a conversation with one of the people that are exemplifying their purpose, and they are doing it with their passion. I had an opportunity today to have a discussion with an interesting individual. You notice that in this month we are discussing things to do with writers. We are showcasing writers and want to get into their brain and want to see how they do it, where did they start and how are they doing it and so on. And Oscar Ranzo, I've told you about Oscar Ranzo. He is with me here to have this conversation. My friend, how are you doing?
I'm very good, Mr. Lawrence. Thank you for hosting me to your wonderful podcast.
Yes, we met like how many years ago?
I think it's 2018, 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yes.
At that moment in time, you were passionate about writing and you had already identified a niche. It was children.
That's correct.
Before that, were you doing any kind of writing that wasn't about children?
Now, initially I was writing for I was doing all kinds of writing for adults, writing poetry, and writing also for children. But then I realized that in Uganda, if we are going to promote the reading culture, because that's the main reason I got into writing, I got interested, I wanted to promote the reading culture. And I realized that if we're going to promote the reading culture, we have to start with young people. So that's when I said, you know what, if we want to build a reading culture, I'm going to focus on creating great content for children, so that then we raise a generation of people who are passionate about reading.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to focus
Okay.
on writing for children.
Okay. Now, Oscar, did you discover you had a gift in writing, or where did you start with this writing business?
Actually, I stumbled upon it. Maybe I said by luck. So I think when I was in S6,
Yeah.
towards the end of my HSC studies,
Yeah.
I unfortunately got expelled from school.
I wanna know, were you a bad boy or something?
I was not, but I cannot say I was a bad boy, but I was a non-conformist. You know, somebody
Rebel of sorts.
in our education system, when you're a non-conformist, when you don't conform,
Yeah.
you think you're a bad boy.
Yes.
But if you go to the national school, I think people are even encouraged.
It's allowed.
Students are even encouraged to ask questions and not to conform, because they think that is really the value that will set them for success in the
for
future.
growth. Yeah.
So in HSC, we got expelled, me and my friends, just towards
exams.
the exam, around 3 weeks too.
Yeah.
And also, before, just to go back a little bit, when I was applying for HSC, I wanted to do arts.
Right.
Because I did love literature.
Yeah.
But my parents wanted me to be a doctor. So they went to the school and said, this guy should not be in art class. You must do sciences. So I did PCB and art. So when we got expelled, my mom told me she wanted to give me a new school, and I said, you know what? Don't worry, I'll read from home. I don't need to. You don't do spend more money. And we only have 3 weeks. So anyway, she got me books and I started reading. But however, I did have this interest in reading. I was curious about words. So I would buy magazines in the market, old magazines, and read them. And one time, I think it was in Essex back, I was reading this magazine. It's a Time magazine. I used to buy in the market. Time magazine, old copy of Time magazine.
Yeah.
And I was reading in an old copy of Time magazine. There was this advert like, "Why don't you be a writer? Why not be a writer?"
I used to see that thing also, by the way.
Yeah. So I was like,
it's an advert, isn't it?
It's an advert. It just hit me. I said, okay. I looked at it and I just responded to it and I wrote to them.
Yeah.
And I want to do this course. So they got back to me, and because they say you don't need any experience, you can enter at any age, you know. I say, okay, let me write. I wrote to them, and they got back to me, and they say, okay, I'm going to do this course. So I signed up for that course, correspondence course, and it just made me realize that this is like just go into it and starting to do the course, and they advised me to read, and I was like, this is my calling.
But before you even went there, were you good in this doctor thing, PCB, all those things? Were you performing well?
No.
You were not performing well.
I was performing well.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the interest for it.
So you were not struggling in terms of academics, intelligence, and academics in terms of physics, chemistry.
I was not struggling.
Mathematics, you were good.
Actually, even if I was expelled in the science class in college in my year, I think I was among the top 5.
Yeah.
So, but
when the results came, you were top 5.
Yes, in the
PCB.
science class. Yes.
PCB is
physics, chemistry,
biology.
Yes. The only thing I refused to do was math.
Yeah.
Instead, I did fine art, which was unheard of at the time. People saying, but
how can you do PCB with fine art?
Yeah, they were telling me you're never going to be a doctor. So I don't care. I will do. I just want to get the grades to pass.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the fine art is the only subject that I still use up to now, because you see I do children's books and they have illustrations. So it's the only subject that I'm applying post school.
So I'm seeing an interesting blend in your life, in your ability, in your capacity. You have capacity for intellect in terms of even sciences and so on. But then there's another thing that is about your passion. What do you want to do? What do you feel like you want to do?
Exactly.
So for you, it was writing.
Writing, yes.
Let me tell you something, Oscar. I used to see that thing myself, and it used to attract me. But the environment in which I was living also did not necessarily offer for that kind of exploration, for me to reach out to those guys. I was living with someone who was thinking, we are so poor, we can't even do these correspondence courses and so on. So I used to see that thing, and I desired to write to those guys and reach out to them and say how they can help me and so on. How long was the course when you took it, the writing course?
I think it was supposed to last like 11 months. Yeah. So, but for me, I happened to have money for the first installment.
Yeah.
I sent them the money, $100.
Yeah.
And then they sent me the notes,
the materials,
which I still have up to now. But and for me, that material, the first 11 units that they sent me were enough for me. Like,
even you did not continue.
Even if I don't, because
it was too good.
It was too good because they taught me how to present my work.
Yeah.
How to sell it, how to get into writing, everything. Now the other ones will be details, maybe travel writing or fiction.
Oh, so niche. They go into niches.
But they all
the initial one was everything in one package in terms of writing. So the other one later on was how can you specialize?
Travel writing or what? But this one was introduction to writing. I just came in there.
So introduction to writing did it for you.
Did it for me.
Gave you all that you needed.
Yes. Okay. Remember, I was also an HSC VAC. So after some time, I resumed studies.
Yes.
I did fishery science and technology. But even at the institute, I was now just practicing writing. I never used to.
So school interrupted you.
But no, I was doing this for my parents, but also doing the writing undercover for myself.
Yeah.
Because I had to graduate and give them their. Actually, I've never after graduation. I'm done.
Did you ever pick your transcripts?
No, I've never picked it. It's still I was like, okay.
You knew you don't.
I knew I would never need it. Because this I'll never need, but I've done it.
Very interesting.
I've done
Oscar.
it.
Yeah.
My parents are happy.
Let me ask you this question. Ideally, it tells me that you would have actually gone to school and done writing. And that would have been enough for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You might not have needed to go for the other courses that you've gone through.
Yeah, if they had just allowed me to do my arts, do literature, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. It was already available anyway.
Yeah.
But can you say the other courses are useless?
Apart from art, I think everything in the end adds some value to it.
Adds some value.
To your
it's
life.
A blend of sorts.
When I write books, I can write on any topic.
Yeah.
I can write books about science.
Yeah. So you can apply the knowledge you got from science into the books you're doing today for a particular group of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just makes my thinking diverse.
Broadens you.
Yes.
Okay. We understand that. That's good. So you get out. You graduate. Makerere?
Fisheries Training Institute.
You graduate from there. You get whatever it is that you got. What was your next step?
Actually, I've got a job. I didn't get a job straight away with several fishing companies, Masese, Komba, but I think I worked for like max 1 year, and then I realized that this was not my kind of job because we're not giving me appetite to write. By that time, I was now into the writing because I would work during the day, then I go back and write.
What will you write? What will you write about?
Just writing anything.
Anything that comes in your mind.
Yes.
Where would you write? On a paper? Or in a book?
I did buy a writing journal because that course I did, they told me that if you want to succeed as a writer, you have to write every day. So I remember writing in my bedroom. I had a table where I did write, but against the wall, I wrote this message. It is not. See, I have to give you the right wording. Every man has his destiny. But it's not easy to become a writer. However, once you become one, it's not hard to get to the dimes and the dens. So I used to look at that message every day. Because
that was original with you?
Yes, that was original with me.
You crafted that message?
Yes.
Awesome. That's a nice quote.
Yeah, the dimes and dens. Because at that time, I knew that, to succeed as a writer, I need to focus. So I took even a celibacy vow, and I said, because at 21, after I graduated, because I set myself a deadline by 25, I have to be successful. Or I have to succeed as a writer. So I even took a celibacy vow. That's when I wrote that word and that quote on my own.
Oh, so that quote was strengthening the vow that you had taken.
Yeah. You say that when you get the dime, when you succeed as a writer, you get money and also you get ladies. So the dime and the dimes. So I was like, okay. So I focused on writing. I quit my job at the Fisheries Institute and I focused. So I started I had to get a source of income. So now, two things. I decided that I was only going to get jobs that allow me ample time to write. So I started to did voluntary work at the Maldmay Center. I signed up as a volunteer. So I volunteer 2 days of the week. Then 3 days of the week I do my writing. Also, I made sure I volunteer at the Maldmay Center because they had a library.
You go there and
I volunteered in the library.
So
I'll be doing work in the library, so it gives me ample time to read. And then also the library had internet. I'll research anything related. I signed up for other free courses. And then so I needed some other source of income to keep me to take care of the bills, rent and what. So I I went into the market, started selling second-hand clothes. So that would give me the money. The library, the Maldmay would help me do my reading and writing, and also have some purpose in life. So also deal with people, because with writing I wanted to do work that get me to interact with people. When I was doing fisheries, I was always locked in the
you're not
in the factory. Yes, wear cap, wear white cap, shower, wear coat, because I was the quality control supervisor.
Okay.
Then you are there all day in a freezing, in a freezing environment. Then you wake up, go to bed. So when now working at an HIV referral center, just got exposed to so many different kinds of people. People are HIV, doctors, and of course there was the benefit of the library. So now that started to do that. When I went to Maldmay, then my career just changed. Now I started doing development work, so I started getting more jobs related to HIV. So after Maldmay, I got a job with an organization called Restless Development, Students Partnership Worldwide. They were bringing volunteers. Now you see, when selecting the places I worked in, I was now very, very intentional. So at some point, when I had now accumulated a lot of volumes of written work, I realized that I needed to get editors, people to edit my work. So I was like, where do I find these people? Of course, my family, friends, they are not even interested in writing. They even don't know that I write. I did it undercover. So I needed to find people. I told myself I need to find people who do not know me, but would be happy to read my work. So the next place I volunteered was at a place called Students Partnership Worldwide. Now these ones were bringing volunteers from England and placing them in villages for 6 months. So I got a job there. So I had now I had connection with people who speak English as a second language. I know the interesting thing about white foreigners or English people or travelers is when they ask you, what do you do? I say, I write. They say, oh, really?
They get intrigued and like,
can I read? You say, I'll bring you some of my work. So I'll take them. I also started hanging out in a place where tourists arrived, a backpackers hostel. That would be in the evenings. That's where I would hang out after work. So I just had exposure to so many people who speak English as a second language, and I would just give them my work, and they would edit it, and they'll give me, because these people don't know me, they said, this is actually good work. I said, okay. At first I was like, maybe they're lying to me, but several people told me this is actually a good story. So maybe I'm onto something here. So that's
kind of gave you some kind of validation. Validation. So earlier on, you because this is one of the conundrums that people who are passionate and people of purpose, they normally face, the conundrum of an income. There is I don't want to call it a hustle, but there is your passion on one side, then there is living. There's making money on the other side. There's always a need for you to get a balance, so that you don't kill the passion, and you don't starve. You get. So for you, it was the clothes,
selling.
So you're telling me you have to be as versatile as possible to, especially in the market that we're living in the world that we're living in, where it's not easy to become a full-time writer from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right.
And also the course I did prepared me well. They told me you have to persevere, and I knew it's going to take you a lot of time before you succeed.
Oh, they warned you.
They told me, they prepared, primed it. When I say warning, they say primed me. They tell me that this is something sometimes it's good to do a course. People have done it because they told me, they gave me examples of writers like Bowles that for me took 11 years of rejection. They even told me, they prepare me for rejection. You're going to be rejected a lot. So,
and you've been rejected?
Of course. Initially I used to submit my manuscripts to publishers, and I have my rejection slips. Until at some point I say, you know what? Then I read again from that course. They told me that several authors took the successful authors took the self-publication direction before they were accepted by traditional publishers. They created a fan base. So this course just prepared me really. So they told me, even if you're talented as a writer, they told me it's like a sport, it's like football. You have to refine it. It may take you some time before you are accepted. You might be a talented footballer, but Barcelona won't give you. They offer, let's say, Messi. They put him at 14, but they brought him maybe after.
Skill him.
Yeah, they have to refine that talent. So they told me patient, persevere, and I just was primed. So I knew that I needed an income. I will not succeed. I will not break. I will not break out immediately. So I need to find an income, something to bring in the flow. So that's why I did the flow. So I think most authors, this were maybe artists, this was something that they failed to do, to realize that my work may not bring me income immediately.
It doesn't mean that it's not valid.
It's not valid, but I did just find a way of living. Pay the rent, balance. Don't worry if your friends are going ahead of you.
They're driving the cars, they're having the dams, the dams and the dimes. And you're
still there. Just
don't worry about
that, but take care of the basics: rent, food, and the bills, utility. You need a computer. Can you run that?
And then invest yourself
and then spend all your time in your craft. Right? So that's for me what I did, and I think I sold clothes until 2012 when I closed the shop, because at that time now I got I'll tell you about. So it was yes, I said I rested the volunteers, giving the people who were foreigners to read my story, and then I went to this other. The story I was hanging out at the backpackers hostel. Again, I was meeting several travelers, and I give them my stories to read. Okay, your story is good. And then others volunteered to edit the work, and then there's one person in particular, the lady. So the lawyer, she read one of my stories, Saving Little Violet. I think I have it somewhere, and she was just so touched by the story and said, "We need to publish this story." I'm like, okay. By that time I was sending out manuscripts and getting rejections, but so this lady said that we need to publish it. It was about like child sacrifice. And I was like, okay. So she mobilized. She was even a traveler. She had just come to Uganda to try to set up an organization. So she said we need to find. So she told her friends, and then we wrote a proposal quickly and approaching organizations looking for funding. And then UNICEF also looked at our proposal on the story. At that time, child sacrifice was rampant in Uganda. They said, we can fund this program, the publication of this book. So UNICEF gave us $10,000 to publish and give us the book for free. Like, okay. So that's how I got my first big break,
so to speak.
Yeah, because
it will never have come if you were not just doing the writing. But the story, where did it come from? What was the inspiration? What was the name of the story again?
Saving Little Viola.
Saving Little Viola.
I think I have it somewhere here.
Yeah.
So the inspiration, because you see, I watched a movie. It's called Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan.
And I was like, I was like, this story is like great. I just need to Africanize this story.
Yeah,
I have to tell a children's story. And that's why even the name is like,
Yeah.
It's because the name started with Saving Margaret Rye, and then I started changing it. And I started from that. And then my mind started working until I came to Little Violet. And I said, okay, now we have the title. So what's the story about? Child sacrifice was rampant at the time. I said, okay, we need to write a story about a girl that saved from child sacrifice. So I wrote that story. And then, so I had it. I had a collection. Remember, I told you that by 25, I was productive. I was just writing stories. I had an idea. Let me write it.
Where were you keeping these stories?
I was just I had a writing journal, but also at some point I managed to get
a computer,
very old laptop. And a friend of mine was bringing stuff from the US, second-hand stuff. I don't know what I sold him, but I managed to get a laptop. I think on this. So it was important. The cost of you need a computer. You need so. But even before I got the computer, I used to write longhand, and I give a lady. So the lady, they have typing bureaus.
They will type
my story.
For you.
Yes, and then I go and edit them.
So you pay them.
I'll pay them.
Basically invested in your writing.
I'll pay them because if you're going to show people your writing, it has to be typed out. Don't give them handwritten work. So I gave them out. So I had that. So when the lady told me, let me look at your story, I had it. I said, I'll bring one for you tomorrow. So I just went and picked up and I said, this is one of them. So,
how long is it? Seven Little.
Seven Little Violet. It published in 2011.
Yeah.
I think I have it here.
Okay.
So we did that, and then UNICEF published it, and then we took it to schools.
But not yet.
UNICEF published that book. He gave us the money to publish around 2,000 copies, and then also gave us money to distribute them in schools, free of charge. And also they paid me to coordinate that job because they say, personally, I didn't get any money from the books, but I was given the job. To coordinate, I was paid. Project manager, so I was getting a salary. And I also, for me, I was like, this is a good thing for me. I was also getting free exposure in the school. So it got me gave me a chance to test.
So this Saving Little Viola, who was the audience in your mind when you're writing?
Children. It was the children.
It was kids.
At that time, I decided to focus on writing for kids. Luckily, I was writing for adults and also for kids. So I was writing for all ages. But at that time, I was decided like I need to write more children's stories. So when this lady, because she was also into children, she was starting up a play center. So I knew that she would be interested in kids' stories. So when she told me, bring me one of your stories, I just picked up Saving Little Violet. So I knew that would appeal to her. So, and also UNICEF is the children's, children's. So it's written for children. Get you a copy when you have. So
how long did the UNICEF project take?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, so they gave us funding for 1 year. We had to cover 100 schools.
Across the country?
Eastern Uganda.
Eastern Uganda only, okay.
Yeah, but and then we gave out like 5,000 books because they printed more and more and more. So the project was very successful. They printed 2,000, they got finished. They got funding for another 2,000. They got finished, another 1,000. They got finished.
Meanwhile, are you still working in other places?
At that time, I was now fully working for this project
for UNICEF. So you left other projects, other
the
works.
Shop, I closed the shop.
You closed the shop.
Closed
so you said working here.
Yes.
So you had hustled. I didn't want to use that word, but you had done all that you needed to do. It was a hustle. Yes. You hustled all that you needed to do.
Yes.
You didn't even know UNICEF is coming.
No.
But you were just being passionate with the writing and so on. So UNICEF comes up. Now you decide, okay, I've got to put all hands on deck as far as this is concerned. Have you ever gone back?
No.
You've never done any other job apart from writing?
After that, it was...
So Oscar Ranzo is a full-time writer.
After that, I was ready. I was ready all the while because at that time I had several stories. I remember that time I said, when I wrote that message on the wall and I was writing every day and I said by 25 I need to be successful.
You'd set a goal.
By 25, okay, I hadn't yet broken out, but the stories I wrote by that time I don't know, I've made like millions out of like hundreds of millions. Saving Tovar is one of them. And then because I wrote a collection of 10 children's stories, so far 8 are out, published, and all of them are sold over 10,000 copies. So like, so yes, by 25 I already created a body of work that is going to take care of my life for the next, I don't know how many years. So yeah, sometimes it's good to have purpose. Just produce. Don't worry about if the income will come. The thing with intellectual property, that doesn't rot. Once you get it out of there, you never know when it will be right to publish it.
Yeah,
so,
you are absolutely right.
Yeah, so the UNICEF story, with the time they published it, was I had written it like 5 years back.
Yeah.
So when UNICEF took it up, it was already there. I didn't have to write a new story. I already written it. So we publish it. We take it to school. Students were like, student was so.
They ravenously just devoured the book.
Story, and it got me
it tells you that I need to write another.
They ask me for more, and like,
and that's one of the conundrums of a writer, isn't it? You never really finish.
Yeah.
You never really have enough. I'm sure right now there are
so many ideas.
There are very many, and I'm sure you've even forgotten some that you are passionate about.
I used to have I used to keep a writing journal.
Yeah.
And sometimes I go back to it. Just where if you an idea you just need to write it down.
Yes.
Maybe it's title.
Yes. And maybe a small description. Then you leave it to simmer.
Yeah. So sometimes I revisit, so when am I ever going to write all these stories? Because especially now that I run a business, they gave me the business, so But so that was after that. That was Saving Tovar came out 2011.
Right.
That's when so in 2011 I was doing the UNICEF job. 2012. I published. The project ended. I left for other people to manage it, and I was ready to go on my own and set up the Oasis book project. So 2012, which is 10 years now, I set up the Oasis book project.
What is it called?
Oasis book project.
Oasis book project. Okay.
And the reason I call it the Oasis book project is because Uganda, and the land that Uganda is called a literally desert.
Yeah.
Because people are perceived not to read. Or write. So we have that. So I say, okay, every day that has an oasis, we are going to create an oasis in this desert. We're going to make it a place where people have to read and write. That's why I named the project the Oasis Book Project. And at that time, I was deciding that I was going to use it first of all as an outlet for my work, but also run it as a business, as a social enterprise, generate me an income, and also be able to empower other writers to publish their stories. And it's been successful so far. 10 years back, when I was starting, we were saying who's going to read. And that's not right. We are going to create a reading culture.
You started doing this not looking forward to making a business out of it. When you started, it was purely a passion, right? Would you say there was more passion than skill, more passion than talent when you started, if you look back?
I think it was a combination of both. I think I had a gift for it, but in Africa we stumble upon our callings. When I started to trace back, where did this writing come from? I realized that my grandfather used to be a writer. He used to love writing, even if he was never published, but he has writings compiling over his house. So I think I had the genetics for it. I just need to
refine it.
I need to try to refine it. And then, like I said, everything that you do in life comes out to be useful in your journey. So this hustling, selling second-hand clothes, it taught me how to sell. Just made me a salesman. So when I started to sell books, I knew.
Just continued selling.
I had got some sales experience. So that everything now felt like everything I had been doing, the voluntary work,
it's coming together.
Was coming together to make it, because this book that you read is called The Alchemist.
Yes, I know that book. I listened to it.
The guy said that if you really love to do something, the forces of nature will conspire to help you make it happen. So now this when I got this realization, the forces of nature were just conspiring to make me succeed at the right. Everything I've been doing just adding to this.
So this
goal.
It should go a long way to encourage the people who are, the question we normally ask a lot, people who are creatives, people who are writers, singers, and all that stuff. the big question they normally ask is, where is the money? And I think that's the same question that many parents in Africa normally ask their kids when they're sending them to school. So they basically take them to courses where they think the money is, and they forget to look at what is this guy's passion, what is this guy's natural disposition to do things, even if it doesn't show the promise for money. Of course, we need to figure out the money issue, but we shouldn't
put the money first.
Put the money first, and in the process, you dump the passion and even the purpose. You will say easily, isn't it, that passion that you've had is now connecting you to your purpose, which is to illuminate the minds of kids, isn't it?
Exactly.
That if that passion you would not have maybe leaned into it and followed it through, you will still be in a cold room doing fish and
being miserable.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, I listened to this interesting. I think it's a podcast. It's called The Strangest Secret by Al Nightingale, and it said something that really struck me. He said, success. People think that success is the result of making money. But it's actually the other way around. Making money is the result of success. So if you succeed at something, you start making money. But if you just chase money, then if
money becomes the main objective as to why you're doing stuff.
So it just says it says create. Don't mind about the money, just create. Give yourself, give 100% to whatever you've chosen to do. And just don't think about create. Improve, create. Eventually the money will start coming. And that's what I did for me. I just started writing.
Right.
And my work was improving, my craft was improving, and eventually now all those stories that I wrote, I told you, they're the ones that I'm publishing. I can publish 3 stories every year.
So you publish 3 stories every year. Yes. That's your model.
Yes, because I've been writing for 10 years full time. We now have 30 stories. I have 30. So every year is 3. But people always ask me, when you get time to do this? I did this in my 20s.
Yes.
I was productive.
Yes. So it's now a business.
Yes.
You've converted into the passion. Now it is converted into profit. You're making profit out of this. You is it like living your dreams, something of that nature? It's feeding you.
No more than feeding me. I travel. I employ 10 people full time and more than 100 part time. So it's generating a profit. Lead a comfortable life, but the thing like what they call a Ghanaian dream, buy a nice car, construction.
You're building your own house.
You're building rentals actually.
You're building. Basically, you're going into real estate.
So I'm diversifying.
From your writing, from your passion of writing, you've earned a profit so much so that you're able to invest into real estate right now. And then there will be many other things that you'll be doing. That's another wisdom that you brought to the conversation today. That at some point in time, once you've started earning a profit from your passion, whether it's singing, whether it's writing, whether it's cooking, think of creating another stream of income that's not necessarily that one. It's not necessarily tied. Your income is not necessarily tied to the gift. The gift is giving birth to other streams. So that's what you're doing. That's where you are at the moment. Okay. So Oscar, let's now talk about the writing itself. There are guys who are listening to us who are passionate about writing. And in this country, I've tried very many times to start writing clubs, and guys normally just
because they don't see the money.
They don't see the money, and it's like and they just give up maybe a month down the line. But let's just now start giving nuggets and giving people information and wisdom and insight. Those ones who want to write, those ones who are passionate about writing, what can we tell them? What should be their processes?
Okay, there are 3 things that I always advise people who want to become writers. But the first advice that they have to read and read.
Right.
because there's no way you're going to become a good writer if you do not read. And reading, by reading, I don't mean reading books. Read everything: newspapers, magazines, children's books, billboards.
You see what kind of style did they use to come up with that advert?
Yes, children's books, whatever. Just be a voracious reader, because it's subconsciously, it's like working the muscle. The mind is a muscle, and it's like working out like the mind, and it helps moving forward. And then the second one, which is what my course taught me, is write. Don't wait for inspiration.
Tell me, let's speak.
Don't wait for inspiration. Just set a target. Over the number of words, maybe it's 1,000, and write 1,000 words every day. Like,
is this thing that writers normally brag around with, writer's block?
There's nothing like writer's block.
There you go. I've always thought that there is nothing like writer's block.
There's such a thing. It's you blocks your mind. But if you have a goal, I did get a job at some point with New Vision. They hired me to write a comic. A comic which would appear every Sunday. Now, every Sunday, it was a comic which was a full book, 32 pages. I had to provide content. I wrote 200 episodes of that book. Every Sunday it has to be there. I never missed a deadline. I didn't know why the story was leading, but I had to, because it first of all was a hit with the children. They really loved it. So much so that
what was the name of that comic?
Bobby and Bobby.
Bobby and Bobby.
Yeah, The Adventures of Bobby and Bobby. So much so that on Sundays, when it was not in the newspaper, there would be trouble at the news, because ministers would be calling. Kapshenga would say, what happened to my kids are throwing a tantrum, what happened to the thing? Then Kapshenga would call the editor, what happened to this? So they always say, but I never had such a thing as writer's block, but I used to do that, and also I used to write my story.
And you, on top of that, you're writing other stuff.
Yes, I make sure by Friday it's there. Then the artist has to draw, and we have to be like 10 episodes ahead of the king, because remember it's a comic. The artist has to draw it. So writer's block is just.
Have you ever realized that when you go on your laptop or whatever it is that you're using to write, and when you start writing, have you realized that you can go and you're blank? But 2 seconds down the line, or even 2 minutes down the line, you had to have a notebook to write ideas just separately.
You can just do anything, but just as long as you program yourself that even if it doesn't come and you write just 100 words, just do that. So writer's block, what? No, it's just an excuse for people not to be creative. For me, that's what I think. Because I did get because sometime when I was succeeding now as a business writer, I was like, but I need validation. This is not good. So I wanted to go. I applied for a writing residency at the University of Iowa. So now that's where. And the only thing they asked me was, let's look at your work. Give us a sample of your work. So I sent them a sample of my work. They gave me the thing free. I got a scholarship to the United States. And what they did for me there is that they gave me, they took care of everything. They said, Oscar, everything is taken care of.
I want to go also.
Apply. It's Iowa. University of Iowa. They have that thing. Just apply for it.
You send me the link.
They say, Oscar, we are taking care of everything. The time you'll be here. Put you up in a hotel room. Food is taken care of. Even whatever you did back home, they even give you a stipend. I say, now, be creative.
My goodness.
Spend your time here to create. Now, no one is supervising you.
Wow.
So I spent that time there. Also there I wrote so many stories. But the thing with because they have internet and Netflix and Facebook, so you can easily be distracted. They were there where Netflix was just distracted. And they said, you know what? I need to go out of the room. So I said I would just leave the room. And go on the streets, because they have street benches. It's quiet, and they say the state where we are is not it's a college town.
Very secure.
It's a college town. So it's very quiet and peaceful, not so busy like New York or what. I just go on the streets and sit with my notebook and I write. And I be creative. Then when I go back to the room, I can do my Netflix, but I know at least I've been creative, because if you're not careful, you can wake up in the morning and start watching Netflix and be there until the whole weekend, just binge watching series. So for writers, because like that, another thing I've seen, so read, write. You have to practice, and also to be observant, and also be a good listener. But also observation is really, really good. Stop just looking at things, but start observing. Because when you observe people, they help you with your description. Or when you listen to people's dialogue, it's going to help with your dialogue when you write. So you just need to start looking at life with a writer's from a writer's point of view. So but write.
Read,
and
write.
Yes.
You used earlier on. You used the word daily in terms of writing. Yes. It has got to be daily.
Daily.
Is that your process even today?
Even today, it's your work. If you have a job, you have to turn up daily.
Exactly.
That's what you do at your job.
Oh, that's a very big revelation. Yeah. If you're a writer, you write daily.
Yes.
If you're a cook, you're paid to cook daily.
It's your work. You do your work every day. It's the only thing that you have to do every day.
Yeah.
You cannot call yourself a writer when you get inspiration.
So once a week is not enough.
That's not a job.
Yeah.
If you're writing and you say it's your work, find time to write every day.
Wow. That's the advice you'll give the upcoming guys.
Yeah, that's the difference between somebody who is a writer and then somebody who is an aspiring writer. The writer writes every day. Who is the most successful writer nowadays? James Patterson. How many books has James Patterson?
Gladwell.
The Gladwells. How many books do they have? You find that there's most successful authors in terms of income are the ones who have lots of books.
Why are you saying James Patterson is the most successful?
In terms of income. Because it sells of the most successful writer of the decade. He has sold more copies than anyone. In terms of sales, he sells hundreds of millions of copies. But James Patterson, he has over 100 books. He publishes over 10 books a year. He has books for children and adults and what. So his income is just crazy. When you get
he publishes 10 books a year.
Yeah, Patterson. And he has for children, for adults, for young adults.
Is that versatile?
Yeah. So this guy, I was reading, I think I read it just recently. He has number one. He tops J.K. Rowling and what. There's no one makes more money than him. And this guy is always writing. So the thing is with the writing, if it's a job, if you call something your job, you have to do it daily. Everyone turns up to their job daily. If you're a runner, you have to jog every day. This is the way life is.
Okay. So the guys who are winning the Olympics, they're not jogging once in 4 years.
You just need to follow.
They're doing it daily.
Every day. They wake up every day at around 5 and then they run. Well, you just see the beat, but so as the writer, you have to find time. Maybe first thing in the morning or first thing at night. Even if it means writing an email, but put yourself in the habit of writing something every day.
At the time I answered that question, guys were asking me, how can I write daily? One of the things I said is that pick a topic of your interest and go to Quora. You know Quora?
Yeah.
Quora.com, where guys normally ask questions, right? And answer the questions that people are asking in the thing that you're passionate about. And that helps you to write and also helps you to firm up your information and your mentality in terms of that particular niche. So writing is daily. Reading is daily.
Read something every day, write something every day.
Yeah.
That's the way you're going to succeed. I think make succeed as a writer.
Yeah.
You cannot be a writer or write only when you have inspiration.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
You may never get inspiration.
You don't wait for the feelings to come, for you to the flow to come. If it finds you in the field, it finds you when you're already writing. Some of your if you look at your works, what do you consider your best works?
That's it's like asking a parent what's your favorite
child.
But however, my adult fiction is really that's what I really wrote and put myself like I was trying to show off my writing skill. But that one is only not yet out. Only one book is out, and it's an ebook, Cross Pollination. But when in terms of children's stories, I do have the character of Jomo. The book, I think it's called Jomo Oscar. The book, I remember when I wrote it, when I finished it, I felt like that I just felt like I put something special with that book. And it has gone on to be the best-selling book in Uganda every year. Every year, sells like 1,000 copies. That small book there, Jomo Oscar. So that one I really like. And then recently I started writing biographies for children. Yes, and then the first biography, we don't have a copy here, but that one I also wrote. I wrote it during lockdown, and also it's called The Big Dreamer, because I realized that in Uganda we don't document the life of
our heroes.
Yes. Yeah. So we just there's so much that needs to be done in Uganda. Because around 2017, I said I started reading biographies. So then I read a lot of biographies for people. And then I realized that in Uganda we don't have biographies for children. So I started to create some biographies. So and that one I like a lot. I really like writing the biographies for children. But in terms of this is the first book I wrote. When I was in my 20s, the first book that I wrote, the very first story that I wrote.
You're targeting who when you wrote this?
It was for children.
Audience, still children.
Yes, because I was volunteering with now a street children project, and so I interviewed with street children, and I got touched. I went to write a story about street children. I wanted to tell a story about street children. Yeah. So I wrote this book, but I only published it last year, I think.
Is this your drawing? Are you the one who drew?
No, I'm not. I hired some other guy.
Okay.
But I only published it in 2019, like almost 19 years after I wrote it.
Yeah.
It's the first one. I was just showing that what the book that I wrote.
Yeah.
Those days.
Yeah.
I'm now publishing now recently. It's I think, but it has already. It's sold out. It's one of the most popular books already in the country. But it's also a story I'm attached because it's the first one. My very, very, very first story that I wrote for children was Left Alone. But I only published it as number 20. For the 20th I published because now my readers have grown up to an age where they can deal with this. If you get Jomo Oscar there, it's basically an alphabet story. It's where children begin. Then, so it's now 10 years. They have grown. They have reached secondary now. They've been demanding for this.
Yeah.
So this is the book now.
Yeah.
So yeah. I do like different stories for different reasons. But yeah. Jomo Oscar, when I felt that I had created something, you should just get there. Look there.
Yeah.
In the middle shelf.
Yeah.
So you can pick it up there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how many publications do you have to your name?
I now have 30.
30?
Yes.
Okay.
30 in full. Like I remember I've been writing for 10 years and every year 3 books.
3.
So now I have 30 books.
Okay.
And still counting.
The adult fiction, what is your thought about it? You've started?
No,
is it going to be a mainstay?
I'm going to publish, I think next year, I intend to publish my first book for adults. Because now, what has happened to my fan base is that because parents have also been buying the books for their children, they've also been reading them, and now I have an audience. That can say, right for our children. So buy.
And even the kids themselves are now growing. They're gonna need some.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the whole plan. So sometimes you need to think long term.
Yeah.
But now I make more sales with less effort.
Yeah.
More sales with less effort because now the audience has grown.
Yeah.
Sure. And I used to tell my people that I'm going to grow my generation.
Yeah.
So nowadays I tell people that I have a very because I've sold in the past year maybe hundreds of thousands of books and they have been read by millions.
Yeah.
Tell people that my audience is there, they have grown.
Yeah.
So they are now ready to purchase. Soon they will be running government and I'll be retired and I'll just be making money.
I know, passive income.
Yes.
Do you have an issue with the copyright infringement?
No, like you see, those are certain things. So sometimes if you fear things, they hold you back. You don't fear, like, I've never, like, this, nothing, that it's not something that worries me.
You just continue
I
producing.
just produce.
Yeah.
And sometimes even piracy is like flattery. The market is big, like,
Let them
as long as it has my name, I mean, they just publish advertisements. So don't worry, I want to look at things positively. Just focus on what you know. If you start worrying about these things, you will never progress. So just fear holds back so many people. There are people who would say, I won't submit my work to America because they might steal my idea. No one is doing that. I'm not going to share my work with Lawrence because he might steal my idea. Just share your work. Just publish it. Don't worry about copyright. Just do your thing. Focus on what you can control.
Just make sure that you're not the one who is copying.
Yeah.
As
long as you're doing the good job.
Yeah.
You'll be rewarded.
Okay. So, how do people get in touch with you, and what value are you adding to them? It's purely stories. Your work is purely fiction, right?
No, actually now we have evolved. So I do a lot of things. I moved away from just writing fiction to actually now teaching schools how to teach reading, because I realized that in Uganda we speak English as a second language. And some people think that when you learn to speak English, automatically you can read the subject, which is wrong, because we all know our parents, our grandparents who are fluent in our local language. Give them a copy of Bukede. So the difference between speaking and speaking and writing. So when I was going into, the more I've gone into this reading thing, I realized that we have a big problem in Uganda, and there's the feedback I got from schools. So now I started to create content, create books that can help teachers teach kids how to read, to acquire the most important skills of reading, which are fluency, comprehension, vocabulary. So now we have. I've now built capacity. You have to always continually improve on yourself. Now we give writing workshops, reading workshops, not even writing, reading workshops, because we have designed a reading program from school that starts from right away from nursery to P7. It's now the school program that we are selling to schools. So we're not. I no longer come to them telling them I'm selling you stories. I'm not selling them a reading program. And this reading program is going to help your learners grow up, become skilled readers who love to read. So the program starts with those charts. You see that we have these are sound charts. So the charts are now for nursery. Now every child, it's interesting that a child now, a Ghanaian child who gets into school will start reading, learn to read using an Oscar Ranzo product. From the first word they read is Oscar Ranzo. And then we go on to nursery, we teach them how to actually blend sounds and develop fluency and vocabulary and what. And then on to, so now we teach teachers how to teach reading. We are being paid for that because now I charge for giving reading workshops. So I've diversified my income from just being a writer to being a reading specialist. So I'm selling that as well, and also making money out of that. Now the money I make from that is what I use for travel. I tell my team now, all this money I make from workshops, I keep it, and at the end of the year I see which country should I visit. So I go and spend it on travel. So yes, there's a lot of, you shouldn't restrict yourself. You should always do some other thing that complement what your product. Remember when we did that course with the CAP, you say that you need to find things that complement your core.
Your core work,
your core work, but then you find certain things that complement that and also maximize those revenue streams. So that's what I try to do.
So writers that are now interested in this writing and they've been doing it, maybe there's a writer out there has been doing this, and probably there's no breakthrough, and they want a breakthrough one way or another. Maybe they want to be connected, like you're connected to Iowa and so on. Are there avenues through which these writers, young upcoming writers, can explore to get exposure, to get refinement, to get whatever it is that just a shot in the arm in their writing career?
I think writers, anyone who is aspiring needs to be proactive. You have to kick doors open, they create your own opportunities. And also it depends on how you use your time on the internet. You can be internet looking at TikTok videos of other people, or you can be researching the opportunities for writers. How did I find out about Iowa? For me, I see that all my opportunities I've created for myself by being proactive, by saying, this is what I want now. This is the thing I want to take. And I go ahead and find out. So how did I find out about Iowa? I just went on the internet and Google, and I searched writing residencies. And then they brought me several, and I researched each one. Then I found one which didn't require me to pay money, and also which would be fully funded, and also which only required me to just submit my work. So I said, and then I said, find out how do I get there admitted. So I find out, you need to find out. I do a research, and I find out that you need to find someone to nominate you. So I had a friend who was living in Norway, who was one of the people who had read my work in Ginger. I met in that backpacker hostel.
Those days, yes.
And I tell her, you need to nominate me for this thing. So she nominated me. Remember, this nomination is coming from Norway. So this guy is right back to me, and I say, we've got a nomination for your work. We can't take you this year. But to go to the American embassy in your country, they need to give us a nomination. We need to benefit. We want a nomination to carry more weight if it comes from the American embassy in your country. So I went to the American embassy, and I told them the University of Iowa sent me to you and told me that you should nominate me for this. And then they said, give us your work. So I already had stories. By that time, I had 3 stories published. I gave them my work. And they looked at it and said, okay, fine, we shall nominate you. So that's the thing. This you have to be continually looking for opportunities. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you.
Don't just sit and write and sit and write and sit and write.
Yeah, you have to look out for opportunities. Like how do I get into children's stories? I think I wrote to Macmillan. And at that time, I read the story, I wrote to them, and then they wrote back to me, and they say, we're not accepting stories right now, but you should enter this competition. It was the Macmillan Writers Competition for Children. So I said, okay, now I need to create children's stories. So then I started writing children's stories. So it should be continually looking for opportunities.
So basically, as a writer, sit back and try to look at relevance in life. Try to look at what is happening in society, and even in the world of what are the supporting bodies, what are the competitions out there, and as early as possible start exposing yourself to all these things. You never know which one is going to go.
How did I get into New Vision? So when I was in the US, when I got back to Uganda, first of all, people were surprised that I was coming. Like most people, when they go to the US, Africans, they think they won't come back. But I mean, actually, even I was given first of all, the admission say you come, I was like, should I really go? Because at that time, writing was beginning to pick up. And I said, but opportunities to go to the US fully funded. Some people only come once. So I closed the business and I went. But when I was about to come back, I said, what do I do when I go back? So I need to partner with a big company to take this. Say New Vision, I'll partner with New Vision. So I wrote to the CEO. I didn't know him. I just wrote him the CEO, and I say, you know what? The email was very interesting because I told him I knew that these businesses, they're not interested in supporting you as a writer or putting your time. The only thing they're interested in is in money. So I had to go with the money angle. So I wrote to him and I told him, Mr. Kamshenga, I wrote him an email. I even didn't know I studied the email patterns of the company, first of all. What are email formats? You know how companies have their email, customized email formats. Because I think been interacting with some journalists and I seen the email format, so I said, okay, this guy is called Robert Kamshenga. This must be the email format. I guess this must be his email. So I wrote him an email. I say, So the new this magazine called Toto. It's a children's magazine. Comes out every day. They give it out for free.
Yeah.
So I told him, you know what? I can make that. I have an idea that can generate you billions. And I stopped there. Like I say, I'm coming back to Uganda in a few times. But he wrote back to me and say, let's meet.
Let's talk.
Yeah. So I went there and I presented my idea.
Yeah.
My idea was writing children's stories and call them Toto stories.
Yeah.
Put their brand on it.
Yeah.
And we sell them to school as Toto books. And we split the revenue 70-30. Take 70, they take 30 because I'm doing my work. They're bringing the log. We disagreed on the one. They say they wanted 70. I take 30. So anyways, we disagreed, but they did say, but you can create for us something comic, which was one, which we can run in our newspaper, Sunday paper for children. And I saw that was so I charged them. Because at that time, I got relation, I couldn't even charge. I knew I had a business. I think I charged them. They were paying me around $200 per episode. So I said, and they accepted, and then we did that, and it was very successful as well because the newspaper sales went up, and also for me, my name, and I was growing up and I was being paid for that. So yeah, so you have to create opportunities. You have to look out, be proactive. Don't wait for don't try so many things. Yes. Something will open along the way.
Awesome. Oscar, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for the kind of work that you're doing and the inspiration that you've become and you're becoming. How do guys get to know you? I mean, how do guys get to engage with you? Guys who maybe wanted to buy a book or whatever it is.
So our books are, I think we have the normal things. We have a website, Oasis Book Project .org.
Oasis Books.
Oasis Book Project.
Oasis Book Project.
Yeah, .org. We have a YouTube channel.
Well, how do they get the YouTube channel?
It's still Oasis Book Project. Twitter.
Oasis Book Project.
Oasis Book Project. Facebook. Oasis Book Project.
Yeah.
And then I have an email address. Ranzo@gmail.com. My phone numbers, and then of course my office is here in Uganda House. We're very accessible.
Uganda House,
fifth floor, room
10. Yes.
Yeah, you can come and purchase all our books.
Yeah.
And then, but you also can find them in all the bookshops. Uganda Bookshop, Aristo. But just felt that we need an outlet here in the city as well, because I have a team around 10 people. They will distribute the books. So they pick them from here. It's more convenient for them. Yes. So right now you don't see them because they're in the field.
Okay.
But every Monday at 2 we have a meeting, and we run the thing professionally. Yes, I think I'll tell people that I'm a writer with us a CEO. The writers, they are under business people, but we are now turning the tables. More writer needs to be taking care of the business because we have the material in your head. You get it, add value to it, and professionalize. Most business people don't want writers to do that, or creatives to learn to run businesses because then they will not be able to eat off their back. But if writers or creatives get smart and start to learn business, there's no reason for them not to earn good income because they have material in their head.
So we've come to the close of today's episode. I really do appreciate it. Guys, if you are listening, you know where to find the man Oasis Book Projects on social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You can find the man there and you can follow him. If you are a writer, upcoming writer, and you needed to do some consultancy, you can look for him on that email that he's given you, ranzooscar@gmail.com, and then you can have yourself sorted. Thank you so much for the inspiration.
You're welcome.
We are glad that you're doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue talking to writers this month. But until another episode, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.